Mark from Audio Pursuit, and today I want to talk to you about the LSA Signature 80 bookshelf loudspeakers. Now, as you can see, these come in a rosewood finish, and that is veneer, with the front beveled edge, like Avalon speakers are, and a very solid cabinet. Now, these are designed by Dr. Viet Nguyen and voiced by Mark Shifter, who works for Underwood HiFi. And when you listen to these, you're going to be surprised. Now, first of all, talk a little bit about the size. These are not a 6.5 woofer, but a 7-inch woofer, so a little bigger diameter. And then you have the ribbon speaker, and with the grill on it that is custom designed. Okay? And that's important for getting the right frequencies off the ribbons. Now, when you listen to the speaker, what you're going to hear is something more. And that is a deeper bass extension than what you would expect out of a cabinet this size. I mean, these things, they don't just give you the boom, they give you the detail. And that's the beauty of the Signature 80s. They really dig. And so you hear the actual notes. Now, they don't go down to 25 hertz or anything like that, no. But really, you hear the actual instruments. Now, when I set these up, I want to emphasize something. Do not put these on either really cheap stands or on a piece of furniture, a credenza or anything like that. Don't do that. Get yourself some really good speaker stands and play with your room. Now, for me, these end up being, I think, about 33 inches out from the front wall. They're about, I guess about 7 feet apart in this room, and about 19 inches from my side walls. Now, I do have them towed in a little bit towards the listening position. And it took me a couple days to get that final adjustment in. And when I did, let me tell you something. Just outstanding. Imaging, soundstage. It just, I can't rave enough how good these are. Now, I'm a big Totem fan. I admit it. I got the original Totem model ones, and I love basically the imaging that Totem provides in their speakers. These have every bit of that. They just play well beyond the cabinet. In between the speakers, out beyond the speakers, above the speakers, below the speakers. Just sit back, put on something really good, and take a listen. And you're going to get surprised. I mean, Dire Straits, Love Over Gold, Telegraph Road, the opening song of 14 minutes. Whoa. If you listen to Fleetwood Mac, Rumors is just insane. That entire album, just, what these speakers give you is not only that bottom end, but this natural, and I truly mean natural mid-range. It's not exaggerated. It's not laid back. It's just smooth and even. And the best way to, and just maybe a hint warm, but really not much. It's just so natural sounding. It's really pleasant. In some ways, it reminds me a little bit of the Harbeth Compact 7s that I owned for a while. I won't say they had that absolute depth of sound. Few do. But those characteristics exist. And that's really, really wonderful to hear. The other thing is that they do is that their instrument placement is insanely good and very detailed. I mean, if you expect a flute to play up higher, you're going to hear it up higher. If you hear a bass guitar off the lower right of the soundstage, that's where it's going to be. It has a specific spot to it. Just well done. the top end. Now, this is not a bright top end like Paradigm or Totem. Two speakers, I also own the Paradigm Prestige 75Fs that have this, very sparkly top end. You don't get that, but you don't get the hiss with it either. You get silence, but you still get the ringing of the cymbals, the crash that you hear off of drum solos, the beauty of the flute, and other woodwind instruments, the upper keys of the piano. Take a listen to the piano guys, George Winston. Really, it's the Cone Concert by Keith Jarrett is insane on these. Just something special with these all together. I could rave it on. And here's the thing, that their normal price, when they're not on sale, is $1,500 for the pair. Right now, as I'm recording this, they're $12.99 for a pair. This is a steal, an absolute steal. And the beauty of these speakers they have that bottom end is so good. I don't have my subwoofer on. From the moment I started listening to this, I said, nope, don't need it, and I turned it off. I just didn't feel the need for it. Now, I did turn it on to sample to see what difference, and yes, you do get a little bit more. But really, these are a speaker that you can set up, and instead of buying a sub for most of us, and in a small space, hey, put your money into something else. Improve your DAC. Buy a bunch of music. There you go. Let's support our artists. Types of music beyond just the classic 70s and 80s, right? Elton John. I got to tell you, listening to Levon, Indian Sunset, those type of songs, oh, beautiful stuff. You go into ELO, yes, and I'll admit a little bit of craziness for REO Speedwagons. You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a Fish album. Sweet stuff on these. Just really, really natural. Now let's get into jazz. What do you hear with jazz about this? Well, classic jazz. Oh. Put on Miles Davis. Take a listen. You're going to hear what I always talk about in my written reviews, that smoky jazz nightclub. The Signature 80s really resolve that. They bring it out in its best fashion. You're going to hear, the background of knowing that this is a small club and that their instruments may be out a little ways from a back wall, and there's tables out in the audience and things like that. You're going to hear that recreation of the room that it's being recorded in. And that makes it all the more special. This doesn't give you a false fakeness to it. It sounds where it's recorded. You hear that benefit. That's why I want to express to all of you with Shadowfax, The Dreams of Children. Yes, beautiful. It's one of those ones where you just lay back in your chair, close your eyes, and just enjoy the music. What a ride. Really, the Signature 80s, man, they're impressive. Now, for those of you who like symphonic music, and I have my days when I put that on, and sometimes my wife wonders where I'm coming from, because she didn't grow up with listening to classical, but I do from time to time. And the nice thing is, really well recorded, like Deutsche Grammophon, that wonderful classic recording on RCA Records of Grand Canyon Suites on vinyl is just tremendous on these. The clickety-clack sounds from the percussion that sound like the hooves going down into the Grand Canyon is just spectacular. The thunderstorm background. These speakers just nail it for their price. There is something special with these. And it doesn't matter the type of music. And really, amplification, it's easy going. These run just kind of a smooth 8 ohms load, 88, 89 dB, really. But they are easy to drive. My 35 watt tube integrated amp by Vista Audio. Oh, what a wonderful match. The Parasound A23 amplifier at 120 watts per channel. Just really nice as well. Now, if you want to get aggressive and see the full force of the bottom end, well, my 500 watt per channel Peachtree Amp 500, Class D, and let me tell you something, these work really nicely with Class D. Man, does it give you just a presentation. I mean, you get the full impact. So don't worry so much about your amplification. It's going to sound really good. I would tell you for solid state or Class D, really probably about 75 watts per channel is really going to bring these speakers out into their own and above. So if I had any quibbles, there would be just one. I don't know if you can see this. This is the grill. And nice little grill, typical fabric and so forth, works with the angles of the bevels, but it attaches with these old tabs. Now, they were using these in the 1970s with the Celestion SI or SL6 SI speakers. And they were notorious for breaking off. I had a pair and I was down to just 2 tabs on each speaker. So I'm really hoping in future runs that Dr. Wynn and Mark Shifter switch over to some magnets. But really, unless you got little kids, leave them off. You don't need them. They sound really nice and they look really nice. They're pleasant to the eye. Some final thoughts. In the now 17 years that I've been reviewing stereo equipment, I think I've bought 5 pairs of speakers I've reviewed. There were a couple others when I reviewed for Tone Audio that I picked up off the side that had come through the studio that other people have reviewed. But I haven't bought any that I've reviewed in 4 years. I think the last pair was the Magnapan 0.7s, and I actually haven't done a review on those, and I'm planning on it. But these, as soon as I put them up, plugged them in, and started listening to Fleetwood Mac, I knew I had to own them. And so these aren't going home. These are now my primary traditional cabinet speaker. And they have been getting so much play that I really, for the first time, I can say I honestly don't miss my other speakers. I don't feel the need to pull them in and do my normal rotation. These have captivated me. The Signature 80s are just special. And the price on them is insane. And one of the things you need to look at is you go to the Underwood HiFi website, take a look at the pictures of the crossovers in these. Danny Ritchie at GR Research, I think, would be impressed by the type of crossover that Dr. Nguyen put into these. They're just, they are beefy. They involve some seriously good componentry. And you cannot beat that. We've seen a lot of speakers where people show you the crossover. People rave about speakers, and then you look at the crossover and you're like, huh? Not these. This is quality stuff. And that, I'm convinced, helps make the difference. So I don't know what else to tell you, but man, get your ears on a pair of these. At their price, they're going to blow your mind because they did for me. Till next time, take care.